Hello, this is your section 3.3 lecture video on multiplying and dividing the properties of equality. So we're still looking at how do we solve equations. We looked in the last video, we looked at using the properties of addition and subtraction, meaning we could add a number or subtract a number from each side of an equation. Here we'll look at the next two properties. We can multiply. If we have an equation, we can multiply both sides by the same number. And if we have an equation, we can divide both sides by the same number. So just allowing us, we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide when we're trying to solve equations, as long as we do the same thing to each side. First set of examples is we are going to multiply, multiply or divide each side. I think they're mixed up here. Okay, if we have 7x equals 63, just a reminder that equal sign separates your equation, a left side from a right side. This means 7 times x. There's no times symbol written, but by default, when nothing is written, it is multiply. So to undo a multiply, meaning what's the opposite of multiplying, or how do we cancel that 7? By dividing. So if I were to divide this side by 7, I need to divide the other side by 7 to keep it an equation. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So we just have x equals, and then 63 divided by 7 is 9. You can check by going back to that original equation and plugging in a 9 for the x. And just question mark, is that true? 7 times 9 is 63. Yes, that's true. Next one, n divided by 5 equals 4. The opposite of divide by would be multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5, and this is understood on this left side to be 5 over 1. These 5s cross cancel, or it's like having 5 over 5, which is 1. So n on the left side equals 4 times 5 is 20, and you can check that if you want. Next one, negative y equals 9. This is the same thing as negative 1 times y equals 9, if that helps see what to do. So a negative 1 times y, the opposite of times, or multiplying, would be dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. Negative 1 over or divided by negative 1, it cancels and makes just 1 y, or just y, and then 9 divided by negative 1 is negative 9. The next one can be done a couple different ways. I'm going to do this and show one way to work it, and it's just a second option on how this could be worked. So this is the same as 5w over 7 equals 30. So that w is, when it's sitting off to the side in the middle, it's actually assigned in the numerator. So I'm just sticking it in the numerator. And if we look at this, we see 5w divided by 7. So I'm gonna focus on this part first. I'm gonna multiply both sides by 7 so that I can undo that dividing by 7. That would leave 5w equals 210. And then I'm going to divide by 5, because that would allow me to cancel and get the w isolated. And then I need to do that to both sides. So 210 divided by 5. And that would be w, because 42. Another way to work this same problem, if we, let's see, 5 over 7w equals 30. You see how it took me 1 step, 2 steps to solve. First I multiplied and then I divided. We could do that in 1 step. When we multiply by the reciprocal, so you see how this is 5/7, and I'm multiplying by the reciprocal, or the flip of that. Watch what happens. It would be 35 over 35, or just 1, or you can look at it as that would cross cancel, that cross cancels. I'm not cross multiplying, I'm actually reducing. Either way, we get a w by itself. And so we've solved for w with just 1 step, or doing 2 things at the same time. And then over here, this would be 30 over 1 times 7 over 5. I am reducing 30 and 5. So that would be 42. 6 times 7 is 42 over 1 or just 42. So pick whichever way you see best. Both of them are fine. Next one, 2 equals -6 times x. So this one's a little different just because the variable's on this right side and it works the same way. So your eyes are looking at the right side. -6 times x. I'm just going to emphasize that these are connected by a multiply. The way we undo a times is by dividing. And I am dividing by exactly what's in that numerator. In other words, I'm not dividing by +6 because I'm not trying to undo signs like adding or subtracting. I'm dividing by exactly what I have in the numerator. Remember that rule we had a while back? If a number is divided by itself, it's 1. That's why I'm keeping that same sign. All right, so on the right side, -6 divided by -6 is 1, or just leaving me with 1x or x. And then on the left side, 2 divided by -6, I'm going to reduce this fraction as a negative and then 1/3. Let's go over here. -11 equals m divided by 2. So what's happening is that it's being divided by 2. So the opposite of that is to multiply by 2 and make sure both sides get multiplied by 2. So -22 equals m. If you feel better writing it m equals -22, that's okay. They both mean the same thing. Next one, 4/3 b equals -10/9. I'm going to choose to do it like this one. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So what's that reciprocal of 4/3? It would be 3/4. So both sides are going to get multiplied by 3/4. On the left side, these cross reduce, or you can think of it as 12 over 12, which simplifies to 1. Either way, we're getting b isolated, which is what we want. On the right side, I'm seeing that these can be cross canceled. So 3 goes into there once, into 9 3 times. 2 goes into both of these. So when we multiply those, we will get a -5 on top, 3 times 2, 6 on the bottom. So b equals -5/6. Okay, so there are your properties, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Oh, couple common mistakes. If we have -12 x equals 24. It's very common to divide by 12 and think that the negative and the positive cancel, but they don't. When we have a negative divided by a positive, it would result in a negative. So if you divided this one by 12, you would have -x equals 2, and then you'd still have to get rid of that negative. I mean, that what I did is okay, it's correct, but it would be much better to make this negative so that it cancels all the way and we get there with one step. If you have -12x divided by 12 and you say that that cancels and just leaves x, that is not correct. So be clear with yourself on what cancels and what doesn't cancel. Like if we have -3x equals 12. If I'm dividing by a -3, yes, that cancels. If I'm dividing by a +3, that does not, that's not correct. -3 does not cancel with dividing by +3. What does cancel is if I were adding that would cancel, but that's a different operation. So keep those 4 different operations clear: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Another common mistake, if let's say we have something coming up later on where we do multi-step, and let's say I subtract 2 And I'm being sloppy with my work on purpose. With my writing even. It'll say I subtracted 2, so I could undo, get rid of that 2, and I get 3x equals 9. Can you find the mistake there? What did I miss? Yeah, I missed that I should have subtracted by 2 on each side, and that would have given me a 7 over here. So make sure that you do the same thing to both sides. Take your time with these and talk to yourself while you're working these problems. What am I doing to each side? Did I do the same thing to each side? Does that really cancel? You've got your calculator just to check. Take your time on these and think about what you're doing as you work them. And good luck to you on your 3.3 homework.